The silverback, known to the city zoological park staff as Kongo, patrolled the verdant expanse of his habitat, a titan of muscle and deep gray fur. His intelligent, dark eyes surveyed the animated crowd, their faces and colorful shirts a blur behind the thick viewing glass. Children's excited squeals and parents' cautionary calls were a familiar backdrop, sounds Kongo usually dismissed with a mere flick of his ear. He was an embodiment of raw power and enduring patience, a king in his own carefully crafted world. Then, in a horrifying instant, the ordinary shattered. A small boy, Liam, barely 5 years old with a shock of sandy blonde hair, pulled himself up onto the lower safety railing, eager for an unobstructed view of the magnificent gorilla troop. His small hands, sticky with remnants of a melting popsicle, grasped the cool, painted metal. He leaned precariously forward, a bright laugh bubbling up as he pointed towards a younger gorilla at play. One small, sneaker-clad foot slipped. A beat of suspended horror, a collective intake of breath from the onlookers. Then, he was gone. Gasps tore through the warm afternoon air. A woman shrieked. A man bellowed for help. The heavy thud of running feet echoed on the concrete walkway above, a frantic, useless sound. Liam tumbled, a small, fragile form, landing with a sickening impact on the hard-packed earth at the bottom of the gorilla enclosure. The world above erupted in chaos. Down in the enclosure, an electric tension shot through Kongo's troop. Juvenile gorillas, moments before engaged in playful wrestling, froze, their heads snapping towards the small, crumpled figure. Two adolescent males grunted, a mix of curiosity and agitation, and began to edge closer to where Liam lay. Across the habitat, Kongo himself went rigid. His massive head swung around, nostrils flaring, every muscle in his powerful frame tensing. His gaze, sharp and intense, locked onto Liam, who lay still and dazed on the dusty ground. A low, guttural rumble started deep within Kongo's chest, a sound that vibrated through the very earth. Without warning, he charged. The ground shook beneath his immense weight as he covered the distance with terrifying speed. Visitors screamed, some stumbling backward from the glass, faces pale with panic. Keepers' voices crackled urgently over radios. Code Red. Code Red, gorilla enclosure, someone yelled, the sound amplified by the surrounding terror. Get the tranquilizer team. Now. Kongo, a 400-pound force of nature, was an unstoppable, terrifying blur. Liam, stirring weakly, lifted his head just as the colossal ape closed in. From the viewing platform, it was a scene of pure, unadulterated horror. Parents clutched their children, shielding their eyes. Cell phones clattered to the ground, their recording forgotten. There was nothing anyone could do. The impact seemed inevitable. Then, at the very last microsecond, Kongo skidded to a halt. Dust billowed around his enormous feet. His broad chest heaved, his dark eyes, wild and fierce, bored down into Liam's small, terrified face. But there was no strike. Instead, Kongo planted himself, an unyielding wall of sinew and resolve, directly between Liam and the approaching younger gorillas. With a deep, resonant growl, he faced down his troop members, a clear and unmistakable warning to stay back. Liam blinked, dazed, tears tracing paths through the dirt on his cheeks. Above, the chaotic noise from the crowd died to a stunned, disbelieving silence. A strange, ancient instinct seemed to stir within Kongo. Not aggression, not predatory instinct, but something akin to recognition. The keepers, now assembled at the enclosure's perimeter, hesitated, their tranquilizer guns aimed but lowered. Mr. Harrison, the zoo's head keeper, a man whose weathered face told tales of decades spent among wild creatures, held up a hand. "Hold your fire," he commanded, his voice low but firm. "Nobody moves. Not yet. One wrong dart, one sudden move, and the fragile piece could shatter, potentially trapping Liam in a far more dangerous crossfire." The younger gorillas, agitated and confused by their alpha's bizarre behavior, shifted restlessly. They took a few tentative steps forward, testing Kongo's resolve, drawn by the unusual, small creature lying vulnerable in their territory. But Kongo was a mountain, immovable. His massive body remained a steadfast barricade, arms slightly spread, chest puffed. The low rumbles continued to emanate from his throat, a constant, vibrating warning. From the viewing deck, some parents, frantic with fear, yelled for the zookeepers to act, to do something. Emergency sirens began to wail in the distance, their shrill sound cutting through the tense atmosphere. Still, Kongo held his ground, his focus unwavering. Liam whimpered, his tiny hands scrabbling at the dirt as he tried to push himself up. His leg buckled, and he collapsed again, a fresh wave of gasps rippling through the onlookers. Kongo flicked his gaze towards the boy, then grunted softly, a sound that, to Mr. Harrison's experienced ears, sounded less like a threat and more like reassurance. Slowly, deliberately, Kongo shifted his enormous bulk, subtly angling his body to gently guide Liam, not with force, but with presence, towards a rocky outcrop that formed one of the shallower edges of the deep pit. It was an almost imperceptible herding motion. Mr. Harrison watched, his mind racing. Kongo's behavior was extraordinary, defying all typical ape responses to an intruder. "Sarah," he said quietly into his radio, addressing a younger keeper known for her close bond with the silverback. "Get to the archives. Pull Kongo's full history. Everything we have. There has to be something." As keepers lined the perimeter, radios buzzing with hushed, urgent communication, Sarah was already sprinting towards the zoo's administrative building. Inside the dusty records office, she and another staff member frantically searched through old files, pulling up faded reports, grainy photographs, and handwritten notes, the long, often forgotten histories of the animals under their care. Buried deep within a transfer manifest from an African sanctuary, they found it, Kongo's early life. Born to a wild troop in the dense rainforests of Central Africa, he had been a juvenile when poachers attacked his family. The records detailed a scene of chaos and brutality. Kongo, then much smaller but fiercely protective, had been found shielding his infant sister with his own body, refusing to abandon her even as danger raged around them. He was one of the few survivors, traumatized but alive, eventually rescued, rehabilitated, and relocated to the American Zoo. The physical scars had healed, the invisible ones, it seemed, had remained. Now, with Liam, small and helpless at his feet, Kongo wasn't just seeing an intruder. He was seeing an echo of the past, the same vulnerability, the same terror, the same desperate need for protection he had once felt and witnessed. This wasn't random. It was memory. It was empathy forged in unimaginable loss. In the zoo's emergency command center, a tense debate raged. "We have to go in," insisted a newer, less experienced manager. "Dart him. It's too risky." Mr. Harrison's voice cut through the rising panic. "No darts. Not yet. We trust him. We trust Sarah." Sarah, having relayed Kongo's history to Mr. Harrison, now stood at the service gate of the enclosure. She was pale but composed. She knew Kongo better than anyone. She'd been there during his difficult acclimation period, patiently earning his trust with soft words and consistent care. If anyone could reach him without shattering the precarious miracle unfolding, it was her. "All right, Sarah," Mr. Harrison's voice came over her earpiece, calm and steady. "Slow and easy. He knows you. Let him see your hands. Talk to him." Taking a deep breath, Sarah unlatched the gate and stepped carefully into the narrow access tunnel that led into the habitat. She carried no weapons, no overt tools of restraint, only her knowledge of the animal and a profound, if nerve-wracking, respect. Above, the crowd watched in absolute, breathless silence. Below, Liam's life, and perhaps Kongo's own complex redemption, hung in the balance. Sarah moved with deliberate slowness, her hands visible, her body posture low and non-threatening. As she emerged into the main enclosure, Kongo's massive head snapped towards her. His nostrils flared. His entire body tensed, muscles bunching like coiled springs beneath his thick fur. A low, warning growl, deeper and more resonant than before, vibrated through the ground. This was not the playful grumble he sometimes offered her with a piece of fruit, this was the sound of an alpha protecting his charge. But Sarah didn't falter. She spoke his name, her voice soft but clear, the name she'd often used during their quiet moments, a name from his sanctuary days. Kongo. Easy, big guy, she murmured, her tone gentle and reassuring. It's okay. You're doing so good. You're keeping him safe. Kongo shifted his immense weight, planting one colossal hand firmly in the dirt. His intelligent eyes flicked from Liam, still huddled near the rocks, back to Sarah. A flicker of something, recognition, perhaps a questioning uncertainty, passed through them. He grunted, a softer, questioning sound this time. Sarah continued her slow advance, step by cautious step. She held out a small, familiar object, a piece of an old, brightly colored burlap sack Kongo had been given as an enrichment toy when he first arrived, something he'd often clutched for comfort. The scent, faint but familiar, reached him. He huffed, nostrils flaring again, but the rigid tension in his shoulders seemed to lessen almost imperceptibly. His massive hands, which had been tensed into fists, slowly uncurled. Liam, seeing Sarah, let out a small, hopeful whimper and tried to crawl the last few inches towards the enclosure wall where she now knelt. Sarah was there in an instant, her movements swift but gentle, scooping the trembling boy into her arms. Her own hands were shaking, but her grip was sure. Kongo remained absolutely still. Not a growl, not a lunge, not even a twitch. He watched, a silent, massive sentinel, as Sarah clutched Liam tightly and began to back slowly towards the service gate. His dark eyes were calm, unreadable, fixed on the keeper and the child. The entire world, the crowd, the keepers, the distant city sounds, seemed frozen in a state of collective awe. As Sarah reached the gate and slipped through, a wave of hushed relief, followed by spontaneous applause and tearful cheers, erupted from the viewing deck. Only then did Kongo finally move. He turned, his great shoulders rolling, and ambled slowly back towards his troop, his massive frame disappearing among the trees and climbing structures of his domain. There was no backward glance, no sign of agitation, just a quiet, dignified retreat. Liam was safe. And somewhere deep within Kongo's complex, scarred heart, another small piece of a painful past seemed to have found a measure of peace. The footage, captured on dozens of smartphones, spread across the globe like a digital wildfire. News anchors replayed the astonishing moments, the fall, the terrifying charge, and the incredible, gentle protection that followed. Experts debated Kongo's actions. Some called it a fluke, a misinterpretation of animal behavior. Others, especially those who learned of Kongo's history, saw something far deeper: compassion, memory, a profound act of interspecies empathy. At the city zoological park, visitors flocked to the gorilla habitat in record numbers, not to gawk in fear, but to pay respect. Children left crayon drawings and handwritten notes at the foot of the exhibit. "Thank you Kongo for saving Liam," one read, accompanied by a charmingly wobbly sketch of a huge gorilla standing proudly over a small stick figure boy. Kongo, for his part, returned to his routines. But the keepers, especially Sarah and Mr. Harrison, noticed a subtle change. The old tension he sometimes carried, the haunted look that occasionally shadowed his eyes, seemed to have softened. He moved with a little more ease, rested a little more deeply. This wasn't just about saving a boy, in some way, it was about healing a part of himself. Soon, a new plaque was installed near the viewing window: Kongo, the gentle guardian. In honor of courage, memory, and the unexpected bonds that connect us all. And every time a visitor pressed their hand against the glass, hoping for a glimpse of the giant who defied expectation and chose compassion, Kongo would watch with his quiet dignity, a living reminder that true strength isn't always about how fiercely you fight, but how fiercely you protect. What would you have done if you were in Liam's parents' shoes, or even one of the keepers? Share your thoughts and feelings in the comments below. Kongo's actions were truly remarkable. Have you ever witnessed an animal show unexpected compassion or bravery? We'd love to hear your stories of profound animal encounters and the respect they inspire. If Kongo's story of courage and protection touched your heart, please give this video a thumbs up, share it with someone who needs a reminder of the good in the world, and subscribe for more incredible true stories that restore our faith in connection. Because ultimately, respect is earned, often in the most surprising ways, and sometimes the most powerful lessons come from the most unexpected teachers.